You know, usually these reviews start out with me using a nice and inviting piece of music of the game I'm talking about. However, this is not just any game, this is Metal Gear Rising. So... Early 2013, Metal Gear was a series I was never really able to get into. I've rented Metal Gear Solid 3, saw that it had 1 hour of cutscenes right at the beginning of the game and immediately returned it the same day. You see, back then I was not really the biggest fan of games with hours and hours of cutscenes. I just wanted to kill people in the most brutal and stylish way possible. Putting it like that makes me seem like a psychopath, but I digress. One day I saw the demo for a new Metal Gear game arrive on PSN. But it looked kinda different. It looked like some of my favorite games, like Devil May Cry for some reason. Intrigued by what I saw, I downloaded the demo and played it a lot. I played through it for like 10 times before I finally decided I need to get this game. So in late February I did. And what did I think of it? Well, you're gonna find out soon enough. Let us talk about the story first. If you don't want to hear the story synopsis, skip to this part of the video. And a little warning, I will spoil the whole story and all the boss fights in this review. Only watch this review if you have played the game or do not care about spoilers. 4 years after Metal Gear Solid 4, Raiden joins a private security organization called Maverick to protect the weak. On a mission to rebuild an African country after a war, the prime minister of said country is attacked by a rival military company called Desperado and is taken hostage. It is here that we first see how bloody and brutal the game is, as Samuel, the name of this fellow with his giant shit-eating grin, slaughters all of the Prime Minister's guards as if they were shish kebab. After having to defeat a Metal Gear Ray, yes, a Metal Gear Ray in the prologue, Raiden chases the other Desperado, Sundowner, who also likes his grin to eat shit. After having to fight yet again the same Metal Gear, because that thing does not like to die, Raiden manages to track down both Sam and Sundowner on a train with the Prime Minister as a hostage. All seems well, until Sundowner shoves his giant ass sword through the Prime Minister and throws him off the train. With Sundowner taking his leave, Raiden has to fight Sam. Pfft, no problem, he just fought a giant Metal Gear and never mind, Raiden loses an arm and an eye to the Hispanic samurai and is about to be killed, if it wasn't for Raiden's boss Boris, who casually steals one of Snake's lines.
Get to waiting, huh?
And rescues Raiden in the process. A few months later, with Raiden all fixed up and upgraded to the max, he is sent to Abkhazia, did I say that right? Anyway, he is sent there to stop a guy called Andrei Dozev from overthrowing the government. After a little bit of hacking and slashing, he learns that Desperado supports his whole attack. Heading to the refinery, he confronts Mistral, one of the winds of destruction of Desperado, which both Sam and Sundowner are a part of. After taking care of her, Raiden contacts Dozev via the radio but cannot prevent him from blowing himself up, destroying the refinery as well, with Raiden having no choice but to leave. Having found out about a Desperado cybernetics lab in Mexico, Raiden infiltrates the sewer system to learn more about the facility.
Adios, amigos.
After fighting these damn gorilla enemies, I seriously hate them, we'll talk about them in more detail soon, he encounters a young boy called George who just escaped from said facility, telling Raiden that they are harvesting the organs of children in that lab to sell them on the black market, which in all honesty is pretty messed up. But do not worry, because after reaching the lab himself, we and Raiden find out that the actual truth is even worse. They are removing the brains of children to virtually train them to become cybernetic soldiers for the US-based military company World Marshal. Fed up with all of this, Raiden resigns from Maverick and goes rogue in order to take down World Marshal. To do this, he heads to the headquarters in Denver. Before even arriving there, he is greeted by Denver's police force, which Raiden deals with the only way he knows how. While turning the police into minced meat, he is confronted by Sam, who tells Raiden that all those men he killed might have had no other choice but to fight. That they had families, didn't choose this life. This messes with Raiden's head, causing him to not be able to fight anymore, feeling guilty for what he has done. This only gets worse when he is confronted by the Wind of Destruction Monsoon. Monsoon talks about memes?
controlled by something weird. Memes. The DNA of the soul.
Okay. Well, anyway, Raiden commands Doctor to turn his pain inhibitors off, has a monologue about how great murdering people feels, and goes into his berserk mode, which he likes to call Jack the Ripper. Raiden makes quick work of Monsoon and heads into the World Marshal headquarters. Fighting his way to the top of the building, Raiden reaches Sundowner and defeats him. After his defeat, Sundowner informs Raiden of an attack that is going to happen in 3 hours. An attack that has enough impact to start World War III. Maverick deduces that the attack is going to take place in Pakistan. But how does one reach Pakistan in just 3 hours? Well, with a rocket, of course. Doctor arrives to pick Raiden and the brains up. They get attacked by drones and Raiden falls down, having to secure a vehicle on the ground. He takes a motorcycle and leaves Denver. On his way to Solus, Raiden is confronted by Sam and both of them agree to a duel to the death, with the winner being chosen by history. It seems like history chose Raiden, who killed Sam and takes his sword, which is weirdly ID locked. I wonder how that will play into the story later. Wink wink, nudge nudge. He then arrives at Solus, boards the rocket and makes his way to Pakistan. There the mastermind is revealed. It was Colorado Senator Stephen Armstrong all along. Wanting to initiate a war between Pakistan and the US, Armstrong planned to use his Metal Gear Excelsus to assassinate the president and make the US citizenship claimer for war. With the Metal Gear destroyed, Armstrong suddenly starts to fight Raiden one-on-one and reveals that he has been cybernetically enhanced by
Nanomachine, son.
Armstrong beats the shit out of Raiden for a few minutes and punches him so hard that the entire Metal Gear explodes. With Raiden's sword broken, his AI wolf companion gives him Sam's sword, which is not locked anymore, and Raiden kills Armstrong after an amazing final boss fight. The game ends with us finding out that the war was avoided. Maverick used the brains World Marshal harvested in order to make cybernetic construction workers instead of soldiers to rebuild all the damage done and nurse the areas that need it. As for Raiden, he is still a rogue, hunting down corrupt private military companies, and we see him unsheathing his sword, thus ending the game. This segment was longer than expected. All in all, I have to say that this story is way simpler and easier to understand than your typical Metal Gear game. And I have to say that this is a great thing. This is a fast-paced action game, not a tactical espionage game. The story moves along at a great pace, is a lot of fun, and is just really enjoyable throughout. The cutscenes have a great cinematography, which is something Kojima always excelled at. Whenever you're not playing, you're watching a very entertaining action flick. This game makes sure to never bore you, even putting a lot of action into the cutscenes, having interesting and surprisingly funny dialogue.
I possess an intellect far beyond human reckoning.
You don't say. Okay then, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here?
I am here to kill you.
When people talk to each other, it feels real. They talk like real people would actually talk. So props to them for accomplishing such a feat, since convincing dialogue is extremely hard to write. The only disappointing thing was the underutilization of Sam. I get what they were trying to do, being the rival of Raiden and all, but when you kill him near the end of the game, it doesn't really have any impact at all. This could have been fixed by having Raiden and Sam interact more throughout the journey, which would have also been hard to do since this game is way too short for such a rivalry to flourish. The idea is good, the boss fight is amazing, but the overall execution of this little subplot was subpar. Yes, this story is stupid at times, yes it is over the top even for Metal Gear standards, but they knew exactly what they were doing. They were not even trying to present a big narrative like MGS3 to us. They just wanted us to have a good time, nothing more, nothing less. And did they accomplish just that? Well, let's jump to the gameplay. This game was made by Platinum Games. Do you really need more info? If you've seen or played any of their games, you know what the deal is. This game's combat system is very simple on the outside. You have a light and a heavy attack button. Alternating between the two of them creates a different combo strings. You know the drill, it's a basic hack and slash gameplay. This game has a lot of features to spice gameplay up though. Unlike games like Bayonetta, you don't have a dodge move of any kind. Being a skilled swordsmaster, Raiden does not rely on dodging, but he instead parries the enemy's moves, which in my opinion feels right at home with the rest of his moveset. You parry by hitting the light attack button as you flick the analog stick into the direction the enemy attacks from. The execution of the parry might take a little getting used to at first, but it becomes really natural as time progresses. The parry window is really forgiving as well, making it not all that difficult to do it successfully. If you however manage to time your parry perfectly, a button prompt will appear on the screen allowing you to kill the enemy instantly by using blade mode. But what is blade mode, you ask? Well, that's the other major gameplay element. You see, when Raiden's blade energy is full, he can activate blade mode, which is so damn cool. In blade mode, time slows down and you can slice and dice the enemy unlucky to stand in front of you into hundreds of pieces. You can use the right analog stick to position the sword the way you want to slice the enemy. If you cut the marked spot on their body, you can perform something called Zandatsu. This means that you can rip their cybernetic spines out, crush it in your hands and replenish your health and blade mode energy. This makes the game sound easy, doesn't it? Well, that's not the case though. But why is that? Because unlike most other games like this, the AI is actually really competent. The enemies flank you, they delay their attacks for you to have a harder time parrying them, and so on and so forth. The dynamic is awesome, keeps you on your guard all the time, and thanks to the tight controls, never feels unfair. Except for these fucking gorillas, because they keep grabbing you mid-combo, and when you are mid-combo you cannot jump out or run away from its grab. The grab in itself is not parryable, so if you commit to a combo and that enemy just decides to randomly grab you, you have no chance but to get grabbed, and that is annoying because getting grabbed ruins the flow of the fight. Apologies for ranting, but those enemies are pretty much my only gripe in the gameplay department. I heard people say that they have problems with the camera. I however never did. The camera worked just fine, focusing on the action at all times, giving you a clear view of what is happening. The only times that was not the case for me was when I was fighting in the corner, getting surrounded by a lot of enemies. But the camera acting up when you're in a corner while a lot of action is happening is perfectly understandable. Now let us get to the real deal of the game. The bosses, soundtrack and overall presentation. While the core gameplay is really fast, responsive and feels great, the bosses and the game's implementation of the amazing soundtrack is what really makes it shine. You see, Platinum Games has always been known for the over-the-top action, and this game, in my honest opinion, is them at their best. The game starts off with you just slicing a few normal foot soldiers. Nothing special. Until a giant Metal Gear Ray jumps in, and yes, the fucking prologue boss is a Metal Gear Ray. As if that wasn't cool enough, every single boss in the game has a vocal track for them. The vocals of these songs only kick in when certain requirements are reached, however. That means you will hear the instrumental version of the track until the health reaches a certain point. And let me tell you, once the vocals kick in, it's the hypest thing ever.
Stop that plane! Swing it wide open! Хорошо, very good. But do not rest easy just yet, huh?
Never have I ever played a game with a soundtrack that got me so pumped and excited while I was fighting a boss. Yes, the music might be what one calls edgy, but I do not care. It's great and its implementation is even better. Another thing about the soundtrack that I love is that how every boss's theme has lyrics that fit to their story and ideals. Here are some examples.
There's no choice but take orders or attack. Locked up in chains, I get fed, but the hunger still remains. When the wind is slow and the fire's hot, the vulture waits to see what rots. Oh, I'm ready. All the scenery, this is nature's sacrifice.
Like it or not, there's no denying that a lot of thought was put into the soundtrack and overall presentation of the game. Now, let us talk about these bosses themselves, one by one. Metal Gear Ray. Amazing introduction to the game, letting the player know this is not your typical Metal Gear. The fight is short, fun and very exciting. Blade Wolf. This boss will make you learn parrying. If you were not good at it before, you will be after this fight, or else you will have a big problem with the later boss coming up. Blade Wolf is insanely fast, can even attack you from a distance, and if you try to dodge him jumping you, you will die. Parrying is the key, and this boss teaches you that perfectly. Great fight. Mistral. The first one of destruction, and again a great boss. She has some kind of lance attacking you from afar while dwarf geckos are swarming you. This boss has 3 different phases, with you changing the scenery twice. It's a very cool cinematic fight, very fast paced, no phase overstays its welcome, and it's a very great way to end the first chapter of the game to let you know what the Winds of Destruction are all about. Graz. This is the only meh boss in this game. There is nothing special about it, it doesn't even feel like a boss. That fact is cemented by this boss becoming a normal enemy later on in the game. Hey, at least Roots of Nature is playing here, so that's a plus I guess. Monsoon. Oh boy, still not all familiar with parrying? You are pretty much dead instantly. This boss will make you cry if you have not perfected the parry. He is easily the fastest out of all of the bosses, running, jumping and confusing you all the time. He attacks from every side, throws phosphorus grenades to create fog in order to ambush you, throws fucking helicopters and tanks at you whenever he feels like it, has an invincible mode in which he can detach his body parts to attack you from a distance, and creates a wheel of doom to run you over with. This boss has so much going for him, and he's the most overwhelming one if you cannot parry. This boss fight is nothing but amazing. I love it. Sundowner. This boss makes sure you are good at using the blade mode, because this guy is...
I'm fucking invincible!
He has a set of 6 shields in front of him, which explode whenever you hit them, hurting you in the process. So in order to beat him, you need to use blade mode, cut the shields open at the exact right spots and cut them off one by one. After you did this, he starts using his weird scissor thing. This is where the fight becomes way easier since his attacks are so slow and telegraphed you can practically not get hit. The fight ends in a pretty cool way by riding on an enemy to fly up the exploding building in order to take Sundowner down. Really good boss, but not as good as Monsoon or Mistral in my opinion. Sam. Straight up sword fight, due to the death against an opponent with a similar skill set as you. There is honestly not too much to say about this boss, it is really straightforward, doesn't have any gimmicks. It is really enjoyable though. Metal Gear Excelsis. Try not to get hit, I dare you to try. This is still the only boss fight I have problems with on a no damage run, but this is unimportant. This boss is gigantic, with you having to attack its blade arms, avoiding a lot of hard to dodge attacks. Even parrying damages you, which does make sense considering how gigantic this thing is. This boss fight in itself is nothing really special. The end of it more than makes up for it though. This is so fucking dope now. Fuck you, Armstrong! Flip that shit right over! Oh, but we are not done yet, my boy. No, no, no. Get your weak ass arm back to me, my boy. Let us activate. Oh, he wants to fight. It's a fight he will get. Bam, my boy. Look at this. Look at this. How fucking hype is that? Yes, my boy. Every time I see this, they cannot make the judgment call. Give up free will forever. The voices won't be heard at all. Display obedience while never stepping out of line. Then blindly swear allegiance. Let your country control your mind. Fuck you, Armstrong, my boy. Die. And alley-oop. Look at this. I'm such a little child, man. Armstrong. Yes. This is how you make a final boss fight. He is really damn tough, implements everything you have learned in the game so far, is really epic and gets your blood pumping, and the music is just amazing. This is honestly one of my favorite final bosses in gaming. It just does everything so well, capturing the game's insanity while giving us a great fight both visually and mechanically. So it sounds like I love everything about this game, right? Well, almost. There are two things I have a problem with. First off, this game is lacking colors, like a lot of colors. This game is pretty much all grey. Apart from one room in chapter 4, this game does not look all that good. I mean, the character models are really detailed, the environments however mostly consist of grey, bland office buildings. Which is sad, since it contradicts the game's creativity in every other aspect. Would a few more colors have really hurt? I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but to me this actually is a very negative aspect. Secondly, this game is short. If you watch all the cutscenes, it's only like 7 hours long at max. Without the cutscenes, this game will take you around 5 hours to beat, and that is my main gripe with it. The boss fights and epic set pieces are just so much fun. After the game ended, I just wanted more. I know, a great short game is better than a long one with unnecessary padding. But still, the experience I had was amazing and I wanted more. The game also has so much replay value after you finish it. You want to play it again. You want to get better. You will play this game so much that you start to learn the lyrics of the vocal songs and sing along as you slay these bosses. Not every game needs a deep and convoluted narrative. Not every game has to have some deeper meaning, and Platinum knew this. They created an actual game, something you can play after work or school and just have a great time with for a few hours. They knew exactly how stupid and over the top this game is. They just wanted to entertain people, and in my opinion, they succeeded with flying colors. Even if the game lacks colors itself, but hey, this game is fun. Should you get it? If you have any interest in this type of game, yes, definitely. The gameplay, the bosses, the spectacle, everything is just pure fun, and I highly advise you to play it. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this new type of video. I had a lot of fun making it, and stay tuned for my next review. See you around, bye bye.